What will happen tomorrow is not random. In other words, it's at least somewhat predictable. I mean, not entirely to be sure, but some things will happen for certain and other things definitely won't. For example, the sun will rise, water will still freeze at 0 degrees Celsius,
and you won't become Michael Stevens.
We know this because everything in the universe is made of 12 fundamental particles, and they interact in 4 predictable ways.
What if I were able to determine the positions and velocities of every single one of these particles in the universe?
Well, you would be the intelligence envisioned by Laplace, who thought if you could really figure out where everything is and how fast it's moving, you would know the entire future of the universe because you know how every particle interacts with every other particle.
Wow, so nothing would be unpredictable, which means nothing would be random.
Not even human behavior. Since we are made of the same fundamental particles as everything in the rest of the universe, everything we will ever do or have ever done would be determined by the information in the state of the universe at any one time.
But what is information? Well, it seems to be fundamentally about order. The order of molecules in your DNA contain the information needed to make you.
It is the order of zeros and ones streaming through the internet that contain all the information required to play this video. It is the order of letters that makes a word and the order of words that makes a sentence that carries information. So fundamentally, information seems to be about order, regularity. That is, until you really think about it. I mean, does every letter of a word carry the same amount of information? No. I mean, after a Q, you know almost for certain that the next letter will be a U. After a TH, there will probably be an E. So these letters carry very little information because you could predict them beforehand. They are redundant. In fact, the founder of information theory, Claude Shannon, estimated the redundancy of English at about 75%, which is why we can make sense of things like this. So English can be compressed because it is not random. It has patterns. Similarly, video is compressible because of its regularities. In each frame, the pixels of similar color cluster together. Plus, from frame to frame, most of the pixels don't change. So you only need to record the ones that do change.
You can take advantage of this technique to create some trippy effects known as data moshing. It's the application of the movement data from one video to the pixels of another.
It also means that an average video can be compressed to just 1/1000th of its original size.
But what is the most you can compress something?
Well, anything that is not random, any patterns or regularities, can be reduced because they are predictable. So you can continue shrinking a file down until what you're left with is totally random.
And that will contain all of the information of the original item, but distilled, pure information.
So pure information is randomness. If you want to know how much information something contains, you need to know how random it is. And randomness is disorder, what we also call entropy. So information fundamentally is entropy. This makes sense if you consider a string of binary digits. For example, this string is perfectly ordered. It has very low entropy and it contains no information. That's the state of an erased hard drive. Now this string contains slightly more information, but again the regularities allow it to be easily compressed. So the string that contains the maximum amount of information is just a random set of zeros and ones. It has maximum entropy because it's totally disordered. You could not predict any of those digits by looking at any of the other digits. And if you wanted to send this information to someone, you would have no other option but to send the whole string of digits. There's no way to compress it. But here's the thing about any object that contains maximum information. For us as human beings, they carry no meaning. For example, a video containing maximum information would look like this. It is just white noise. The color of each pixel is independent of all the other pixels and they all change randomly. This video could not be compressed because it's already totally random. Now, a random sequence of DNA would not make an organism, and a random string of letters does not generally make a word. We are drawn to things that are neither perfectly ordered, containing no information, nor are they perfectly disordered, containing maximum information. Somewhere in the middle, we can recognize complex patterns, and that is where we derive meaning. in music, poetry, and ideas.